The atmosphere is saturated, the polity is hot. So much happening. Preparation towards 2027 is on the rise. Some persons are saying we are having more of politicking than governance. Some persons are saying it is too early, of course, to start talking about 2027. And some of the persons are saying, well, we are already running late. We can't wait for no one, because we need to put our house in order. And that's the reason you've been hearing of, well, defections, should I call it cross-carpeting? Whatever you call it, it's all the same. But we've seen a lot of mass movement, exodus of politicians from one party to the other. We've heard about coalition. Some persons said it's a coalition in real sense of it. Some other persons said it's a recycling of people who are aggrieved in one other party that are coming together. Some persons said, well, the All Progressive Congress APC have not had a real run for their money as it has to do with opposition in real terms. All this will form the basis for our discussion this morning on the first part of our talk today. And of course, it is still Global Morning. In case you're just tuning in, we are getting into the second discussion. You've missed so much, but then it's good that you are still part of us now. We have so much still lined up for you on Global Morning before we draw the curtain, especially as it has to do with this discussion. We are looking at opposition politics. And what are we talking about? Coalition moves to challenge Tinubu. They are moving. There's a movement. Are you surprised that there's going to be a neck meeting holding? Some persons are saying, why did the APC chairman resign? Who is coming next? There is a balloting, like we saw in the papers this morning. Some persons actually lobbying, as it is being stated in the papers, at the North Central. Well, let's get into the conversation so that you can have more insight into the discussion today as we look at opposition politics and as coalitions move to challenge the sitting president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And joining me on the conversation this beautiful morning is a political commentator in the person of Musa Hakeem. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramsey.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you on the program this morning. Yes, let's talk politics. You know, as a matter of fact, any politics or any administration that doesn't have an opposition, an APC chieftain told me on my program here that politics will not be sweet if there is no opposition. And he boldly told me to my face that they APC are not having the kind of position that they desire. Does that seem like a mind game, or he's saying the right thing?
All right, thank you once again. I think every right-thinking politician should think like that APC chieftain that has spoken to you on this program. Well, first of all, let me talk about the danger of running a one-party system. You know, a one-party system is a system of politics that the power is concentrated in one party, so to say, one person or group of people, under which democracy is eroded, then the rule of law is being, set aside, or the right to expression will be limited under one-party system. Though we have countries around the world that run this one-party system, most especially China, Cuba, Bulgaria, and the rest of them. And if you check those countries that run this one-party system, they are communist society. In a society like ours, like in Nigeria and other African countries, where we have a capitalism, or we have in a heterogeneous society like ours, one-party system cannot suffice, because it's actually dragged into dictatorship. Then coming to a vibrant opposition.
But before you go to vibrant opposition, do you see Nigeria tilting towards a one-party system? Why do you choose to talk about that? Because the president, in one of his speech, said, well, he's not in support of a one-party system, but some other persons are saying this defection, everything. Like this morning, Adeleke have said, well, I'm in PDP, but I'm rooting for President Tinubu in APC for 2027. So are you seeing Nigeria tilting towards a one-party system? Why did you say that? Just make it clear for us.
Yes, why I said that is that if you watch the political events for some times now, you agree with me that Nigeria was actually tilting towards one-party system, where you have good numbers of governors defecting to ruling party, from their opposition. And if you also take note of the events of the so-called opposition party PDP over time, the way they have been running the affair of the party, you know that they are not ready to provide that needed opposition in the country. So to say, Nigeria is sliding to one-party system not until the inception of coalition movements, which in my own right I can say if they are going to provide a vibrant opposition in the country that is needed. Because without opposition, like I have said, there will be, low level of participation, and the dream and aspiration of so many Nigerians will be dashed in the game. So that's why the vibrant opposition is quite needed for the progress and the betterment of Nigeria citizens.
Oh, okay. We're talking. You already made mention of opposition right now, but then, why are we not having the real opposition? Nigerians will be curious because I know you remember what happened during PDP. It wasn't a smooth sail because of the opposition, and when the opposition got taken, there was a coalition which actually pushed PDP aside, even though they said it was President Jonathan that accepted and all of that, all that history. Let's put that aside. Now let's talk about this opposition. What's the problem? Why are we not having the real opposition? Is there something wrong, or is it that APC is too smart to make sure there is no opposition? I don't know. Nigerians are curious.
All right, I think the question is highly put as regarding why we don't have the vibrant or needed opposition before now. I think first of all we need to talk about the political ideologies. In Nigeria, most of the political parties don't have quote and unquote ideological base as regarding, okay, this is what parties stand to. Like for instance, the African National Congress in South Africa, they have been in power since 1994. In that kind of system, we call them a dominant party. They have, what's their ideology? The ideology is to fight against racism, then ethnic exclusivism, and ethnic chauvinism. So this ideology, whoever comes on board will know that, okay, this is what the party is going to bring on board. So with this now, they try to also strengthen the democracy in the party. Like in Nigeria here, most of these major political party, APC, PDP, Labour Party, more often times we had issue with how they run their internal affairs. And if they cannot on their own run those internal affairs correctly, then what is expected? So that's why you see that once a party emerge at the national level, you see people, cross-carpeting to that particular party, because of course the ideology is always winner takes all. So this particular ideology eroded the mentality of providing opposition. So that's why over time you see that the country or the political parties doesn't have that vibrant opposition, not until in 2015, when the merger between then defunct CPC, ACN, fraction of APGA come together to merge as what you see as APC as at then, to challenge the incumbent president then. And mind you, as you said, it's not because the then President Goodluck Jonathan was weak. That's why he considered to defeat. No, it's because the opposition then had what it takes, and they provide the needful for the Nigerian populace, who are the voters. Because if you are, as a leader, if you are being overwhelmed by the participation of the citizen, and this is the way they wanted to go, then you don't have option than to concede to defeat if you are defeated.
Okay, we're talking about coalition here, and like during my introduction, you heard what I said.
Yeah,
Nigerians are speculating so many things. Okay, let's quickly just do a rundown of the people that we have in the coalition. Let me begin from the chairman-elect, the David Mark, the former Senate President, interim chairman. Then you also talk about Adegbeshola.
Interim secretary.
Then you also talk about El-Rufai. Then you look at Atiku Abubakar. And you look at Amechi and a host of others. These are people that have been in power, that have been in governance. You take, for instance, the former governor of Kaduna State, who was once an FCT minister. He was even appointed as a minister. He was selected among those that were selected, and he couldn't make it through the screening at the National Assembly, and he was not part of the people that took the bow. And somehow we Nigerians felt his grievances, and now he is forming a coalition alongside other persons who have contested in the past. Now I cannot categorically say Peter Obi is part of the coalition because of the up and down and the issue of he has not resigned from his party and all of that. Now, what do you think about this coalition? Because Nigerians are saying so many things. Some Nigerians are saying these are people who are angry because they were not given position under the All Progressive Congress. Some persons are saying this person did 8 years, this person did 16 years in power. What are his people saying about him? This person was in governance, and you see recycling. This person was a former vice president, this person was a governor. What do they really still want, and all of that? And the message and the song has been to unseat, Tinubu. You understand? Not what they want to do for the people, as Nigerians are saying. It's on social media, it's everywhere. Nigerians are speaking. So, on your own part now, what do you think about these people and this coalition? Are they a good challenge for President Bola Tinubu?
I think from my own perspective, those who are championing the cause of coalition as today, obviously they have been in power or in corridor of power at one point or the other. That also takes me back to the point that in Nigeria our political parties lack ideology. But that aside, you see, in politics, like I said earlier, in a heterogeneous society like Nigeria, where we have a very vast diverse of interests, people can come or form a political party to drive that their interest. So it is now behold on the citizen to now say, okay, this interest that this particular set of people are driving, does it worth our participation or not? And mind you, in politics, people actually participated in politics in anticipation for reward. And in a society where you have our politics is being, run on sectionalism, then you are bound to see this kind of, reaction that you are seeing in the opposition or the coalition move today. You get the point. So now, the point is that the current president, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his policies and programs for Nigerians are not actually, the Nigerian people are not actually seeing the results. This is the fact, and this fact has to be established, because of course most at times those in power, because they surrounded themselves with people, and because of the way politics is being run, there are a lot of people who can regard as sycophants that's around the corridor of power, that refuses to tell the president the reality on ground. And if you see most of these coalition leaders now, they now run background checks on what are the effect of these policies on the people. They now see that the people are heavily crying because of the rate of hunger in the land, and they want to take advantage of that. And mind you, if a political party have a kind of ideology, I may not actually agree with your personal ideology, but because we have a kind of unifying ideology that binds us together, then we can work together. Then people like former governor of Kaduna State, Rufai, that you've mentioned, if he felt that his interest is not being captured in the affair of APC, as it were, and he want to pull out to form a coalition, he's in no right to do so. So what matters here now is that those of us who are like political onlookers or voters, so to say, it's now left to us to now say, oh, these grievances or grudges, does it worth it for us to support the movement or not? Vis-a-vis, if you check the current situation of things in the country, you understand. So most times they have their own interests why they are doing what they are doing. You understand? And there is no way they can push that their interest without navigating around the current situation as in generally in the country, which is high inflation as a result of policies of this present government, then a high rate of hunger in the land, and of course majority of people are going to listen to them, except the current government has something to counter that narrative.
Okay, the coalition so far has not really addressed any economic issue, or everything has been political. Now let's look at the coalition, because ADC is a party. Then we have people who run this party, and what Nigerians look at is the people that run the party, their antecedents. So now you as a Nigerian, or maybe a representative of Nigerians, what do you think you should look at in these figures, these people forming? Because whether you like it or not, among them, somebody is going to be fielded, okay, as a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, as an average Nigerian, you are supposed to look at in a politician before you actually stamp your ballot for him? Especially people that have been in governance. Remember what happened, all right, in 2015. There was a clamor for change. And there was a slogan everywhere about change. And in 2015, Nigerians had a new president, blessed memory, the late former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
And he came on board, and Nigerians didn't really smile. Now we are having another electioneering year coming closer, come 2027. Some people are of the school of thought that Nigerians are now wiser than they used to be. I take you back to 2023. Nobody saw, whether you like it or not, there was a shaking in the political scene when Peter Obi came on board, because people were eager for a fresh blood, as the case may be. And you saw what happened. So now, looking at these people forming this coalition, looking back at their antecedents, they have an ideology, all right, and the people also know what they want. You now saying, because you pointed to the economic situation, the hunger in the land and all of that, that could be a basis for supporting this coalition by Nigerians, which might not be a right thinking looking at previous incidences. So now, what do you think Nigerians would be looking out for in this coalition, taking example from past experience?
All right, thank you once again. I think if you take it back to 2014, when there were so much clamor for change, then I want you to take a look at what was the issue then that the leader of various parties that formed APC then were looking at. That time, the point was that there were massive corruption under President Goodluck Jonathan. And when they now saw that, and they know that the feeling they are getting from the Nigerian populace is that they want a change from these corrupt practices, then they might come up with a party. Then at the end of the day, they feeded the late former president Muhammadu Buhari of the blessed memory with a slogan then, or with an agenda. The popular agenda then was that he is going to fight corruption to a standstill. Then the Nigerian people bought into that. Before I proceed, let me tell you and the millions of viewers one thing, that in politics, there is no way you can come up or want to take power without selling a particular sentiment to people. This is basic in politics. You understand? So first of all, you go around, you check what are the problem, what is the popular problem that people are trying to solve. Because as it were today, because of the hunger in the land, if ADC come up tomorrow, quote and unquote, feed any candidate, and the agenda is that we are going to correct this hunger in the land, millions of people will give them their votes.
But we had the same slogan, fight corruption, when the former late president came on board. But we still had corruption until now.
Today.
So how will you marry this two?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going somewhere. That in political scene in Nigeria, there's no way you are not going to sell any sentiment for people to buy into it.
Okay.
This is not withstanding whether you are going to deliver or not. But when you now fast forward to 2023, people are beginning to have this political enlightenment regarding what is expected of a leader that they are going to entrust with their vote. You understand? But unfortunately, that doesn't say true with the candidature of Peter Obi. And here we are today now. Your first question, let me go back to your question, is that these characters, what do we like to see? If you ask me personally, in my personal opinion, I think the person that we should always want to see as our leader should be someone that is compassionate and have the capacity to put the interests of the people before his or her personal interests. If you have someone who fits in these two criteria, for me, it's a good to lead. Because, of course, you can also take away their personal interests as a human being, even though they swore to an affidavit that they are going to preserve the rights and the privileges without favor or what have you. You understand? You can also rule out their personal interest. But what we should look out for is someone who is compassionate enough to feel the pain of the people, of the ordinary people, so that whenever they want to take decision, because the person should also understand that each decision he takes have direct, either negative or positive impact on the ordinary citizen of Nigeria. So if you have someone like this, then we can now say, okay, we're good to go. But as regard what people want from a leader, is that Nigeria have a very diverse interest. You understand? Like, for instance, now if you are a politician and you want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to continue, if they ask you, perhaps the reason might be so personal to you. Then if you ask another politician, the reason may be also personal to them. So is this collection of these personal interests that you see that make people to choose whoever they want to lead them? But another important aspect that I want to discuss using this medium is that until and unless our electoral system is being strengthened, because most of these things that you see is not actually we have ability to elect whoever we want. It's an imposition of leaders on us to some extent, because first of all, the internal democracy has never been too orderly to say that, okay, for instance, we want to say, okay, like just concluded FCT area councils primaries that just concluded recently. We heard what went on with those primaries. So if those at that level, people cannot choose who should represent them internally at the party level, then talk more of when it now comes to general election.
All right. I think we need to look at this opposition very critically. You actually made mention of Independent National Electoral Commission and the fact that they need to be sanitized before we can have a free or fair election. And you were talking about the fact that except if somebody, the issue of trust is a very serious matter. And Nigerians have a perspective. They have a straight line thinking about politicians. Like you said, they have an ideology. And from what you even said, that the politicians always have a USP, a unique selling point, what they sell to the people to gain their votes, which is more like marketing, sales. They spend so much so that they can recoup it back when they get into office and all of that. So, and that boils down to the issue of trust. I will still take you back to what these people, the antecedents of these people, because the reason why we're talking about this is because of the coalition. And one of the things that a lot of Nigerians want to lie on right now is coalition. In fact, before the coalition, some Nigerians were already proposing that they need a coalition. But the people forming the coalition, as at today, we are not sure if Peter Obi is fully in that coalition, looking at what is happening even up till yesterday. All right. Now, you talked about somebody that has sympathy and all of that. Among those people, if you are in the position to pick someone, all right, who will you pick and why?
I think
I'm putting you on the hot seat, right? You are Nigerian. You may be speaking, it may not be directly you, but who do you think Nigerians, okay, would want to, maybe for instance you are being made a stakeholder or maybe an elder statesman to the coalition, and you have the right, all right, to say this person will be good, looking at what you feel Nigerians will want, not what you will want. But who do you think Nigerians, not you now, who do you think Nigerians would prefer that have what you are thinking in mind, that sympathy? But sometimes sympathy may not be strong enough, all right, to get a vote of the people. Looking at past experience, Nigerians have gone through so much, brother.
Yes, I think you ask question, and the other way you have also provide answer to it. Why I say so is that when we're talking about a compassionate leader, I also added that someone also have the capacity to lead. Because to be compassionate is one thing. To have the capacity, this capacity will entail political will. This capacity will also entail your personality. Then how people feel being around you. It's very important, because first of all, president is just one individual. And he's going to have a lot of people, cabinets, in his cabinet that's going to help him or her to run the government. You understand? Then, having said this, when it comes to power politics, it's not the way you and I look at it from the studio here. Because people go to drawing board to look at it critically. Who can actually help them win? That's what actually happened in 2014 when the merger was successful. They now went to the table to say, okay, now we have successfully merged together as a political parties. But who do we feed now? Because of what people, because one thing that matters to politicians is how to win. You get the point now. So when they now go, there is people that they always mandated with that, assignment to go to drawing board to say, okay, if I bring Peter Obi, for instance, and I bring so person to deputize him, is he going to sell a lot? Can that give us victory? Just like, as you said, that every political party have their selling point. They must have sentiment they are selling to people for them to, buy in. You understand? So it's not right for me as a political commentator to now say, okay, this is what is fit for ADC. And of course, you agree with me that this is just a coalition. I think if you ask me, they are still on the talking stage. You understand? And it's not, I want to use this medium to also advise those who are, working this coalition to have patience for them to get a best from them for the Nigerians, because there is so much clamoring for a very vibrant opposition. They might not be able to unseat President Tinubu comes 2027 as the event will unfold, but at least they will have some good numbers of legislators at National Assembly, which a way can help to, there's what we call check and balances, can help them to, have a good check and balances on how the governance and how people can be governed in this country. Because if you look at this period, like you said from your first question, it's too early for us to start talking about 2027 if we were actually, seriously concerned about governance, not politicking. Because if you start, from my knowledge, I think people start, the ruling party APC started talking about endorsement of the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu for 2027 for about 2 or 3 months ago, when they had a stakeholder forum in Asobila here, the Northeast forum, like that. It's actually too early for them to start talking about 2027 when you have a lot of things on ground to actually do for the betterment of the people. Because it's an eyesore that the hunger in the land is actually very loud at this moment. But I know, of course, most of these policies that have been put in place will definitely take a little while before they start yielding positive results. But of course,
like how long?
That's the question.
That's the question Nigeria. They even ask me.
Yeah,
they even ask me. So I need to ask you now.
Nigeria are
so
how long?
So how long?
And meanwhile, even while waiting, there should be palliatives to cushion the effect of those policies. Because if you take a look at during former President late Muhammadu Buhari, there are a lot of palliative measures that he put on ground, such as Empower program, school feeding program, market
same school feeding program that had a lot of issues.
Yes, of course, it had a lot of issues because people are refused to be held accountable, and that's another angle to governance in this country. When one person is feeling too big for the system, just like as you also have in this current administration, you understand, then people should be put into places that the institution should be empowered than individual. And that's what happened when you have a one party dominant system. You understand, because that will relegate the supremacy of law to background, and instead you have supremacy of individual.
All right, we are going to go on a break, but before we go on a break, let me ask you this question. From one administration to the other, there have been a reputation of one particular thing. During the time of Jonathan, there are things that Nigerians were not satisfied with. We even had instances where people carried coffee and they were protesting that Jonathan has to go, Jonathan should go. And jokingly on social media, some people were saying Jonathan said Nigerians were going to miss him. And exactly it happened during the emergence of the APC. Now, the former president came on board, and people were like, all right, there was hunger too, and so many things, corruption, you know, a lot of cases here and there, you know, repatriation, so many things happened, you know, and Nigerians keep crying for a better government, you know, and this administration came in, and when this administration came in, there were policies, like you said, Nigerians are still waiting for when these policies will mature. Like you said, we are going by your word, as a matter of fact. There is this hunger, there is something, there is always a problem, all right, with every administration. Apart from the republic, I could remember, I grew up to know Usoji, the money that was paid to civil servants also back then, and so many other things. We've had problem from one administration to the other, until now. How do you think we can profile solution? Because Nigeria is at a critical juncture right now as we speak, and the only hope that Nigerians are having right now is redemption. Nigerians don't know how it's going to happen, whether it's with the policies of this administration or the government that will come in place in 2027. Nobody knows yet. It is still a prayer, all right? Now, as a Nigerian, as a political commentator, what do you think, all right, can be done to avert this situation? Do you see this coalition capable of redeeming Nigeria?
This is another big question there. But first of all, I think what Nigerians need more or most now is active citizen participation in all form of politics or electioneering. It is high time we stop folding our arms and said, these politicians, they always have their way, so we don't want to participate. Because you see what happened 2023. Because if you ask me, as a political analyst or commentator, I wouldn't believe that Peter Obi could pull such of votes in that 2023, and that is a pointer that people are actually waking up from the slumber to take back their position, because actually the power lies with the people. But in Nigeria, because of our nonchalant, attitude towards, politics or power game, we just relegate that power to them. That's the politicians. You understand? So what we Nigerians need mostly now is that active participation, because it baffles me anytime any politician or someone who is in power did something which is out of his duty to do, will now be feeling that he has done us favor by discharging his duties. For instance, you see maybe governor of a state paying salary, and he wants us to be praising him that he is paying salary. And after all, even constitutional provision make it very clear that the welfare, the protection of property and that of life of the citizen is one of their responsibility. But why doing this responsibility now? They are still feeling that they are doing us favor by discharging their responsibility. So it's a high time that the citizens should rise to hold these people accountable. And thank God today, especially for the social media presence. It makes, because of course you agree with me that to some larger extent most of the mainstream media are being censored. There are a lot of things that even talking to you in this studio I cannot say, if not MBS will serve you query after the program. You understand? But on social media people have access to information, and we have seen the good effect of it on governance. So people should actually rise up to take this issue of governance so serious that all of us will be actively participating in the politics.
All right, it is still the discussion, and of course we're looking at the polity. We will make way for social buzz. You just talked about social media, so as we before we return, the conversation continues, because there are so many vital areas that we need to touch. This concerns Nigerians. You talked about INEC. I'm coming back there, but before then, let's have a look at what is happening on the social media platforms, because we are always in touch with our viewers across all board, including the social media platform. And at least Mobuno is standing by for Social Buzz. After Social Buzz, the conversation returns. Stay with us.
Good morning, the Global Morning Crew, and good morning to you, my viewers. I am Mobuno. What's buzzing today on the internet? Well, on the internet today, something happened on Tuesday, where Senator Natasha was denied entry into the National Assembly. There was drama at the entrance of the National Assembly complex in Abuja on Tuesday as security operatives barred suspended Kogi Central lawmaker Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan from gaining access to the premises. The senator arrived at the gate accompanied by activist Aisha Yusufu, rights advocate Mama P, activist Randy, and a crowd of supporters, but was denied entry by security officials. Yusufu, in a bid to intervene, confronted the officers stationed at the gate and challenged the order allegedly issued to block Natasha's entry. National Assembly is meant to be for everyone. Why are you stopping us? She said, and she went ahead to say, we're not abiding doesn't mean we are cowards, she said. The standoff quickly escalated as some supporters began chanting push while attempting to force their way in. Natasha supporters were later seen marching towards the complex. Speaking to journalists after being denied access to the Senate chambers, Akpoti-Oduaghan expressed deep frustration with the Senate leadership, especially given a recent court ruling in her favor. She said, "It's about me, a duly elected senator, walking into the chambers to resume my constitutional duties. I have duly notified the Senate through 2 letters that I would be resuming functions today, July 22nd, 2025. The senator raised 2 major concerns: the heavy police presence and the Senate's alleged defiance of a court order. The number of armed policemen we met outside, all were knitted with guns, charging at an unarmed female senator was shocking. We have people here, attractive Nigerians who witnessed this. The second thing is that the fact that the Senate under its leadership has decided to become lawbreakers by denying many entrants into the chambers to resume my duties," she said. Akpoti-Oduaghan also addressed what she called a deliberate attempt to misrepresent the court ruling in the media. Oh my God, we all saw that clip yesterday, but I'll be leaving you to see the short clip, how she was denied entry and she had to walk all the way to the Senate chambers. Please, let's take a look at this video. That video, she literally walked all the way because her convoy was asked to wait by the gates, do not enter into the premises, and she had to walk all the way, and they still stopped her from even entering into the Senate chambers, asking her not to enter. Different questions from highly kitted armed policemen, asking her even her name. At this point, it's more like they don't even recognize her, which is something I do not want to even take at this point. Well, we're going to be taking comments from social media as regards this topic. You know, a lot of persons will definitely talk about it. They all have something to say. It was buzzing all in the internet. And the first comment today we're going to be taking is coming from Ben Samuel. And Ben Samuel says, let's be frank, our politicians are deplorable. Their Federal Senate seems to forget their term ends in under 2 years. Lawmakers demand patriotism from citizens while acting worse than convicted criminals. What a squandering of national resources. Security forces are urgently needed in Plateau, Borno, and Benue to combat insecurity, yet Natasha Akpoti remains their focus. Akpabio's conduct is arguably worse than Abacha's. Lawless lawmakers, he said. Well, the second comment is coming from Emmanuel Isijola, and Emmanuel says they should just sack her to please their ego. What's all the suspension and intimidation of a lady who refuses to be cajoled? This Natasha's case will worsen our democracy, the one already in the mood in the hands of Tinubu and APC. The world is watching and Nigerians are taking notes. This is hooliganism and not democracy. Well, we're going to the last but not the least comment today, and that's coming from Professor Nekane, PhD, DBS, DBA, and it says, Federal High Court ruling July 4, 2025. The Federal High Court in Abuja, presided over by Justice Binta Iyako, declared her 6-month suspension unlawful and unconstitutional. The court specifically cited Section 63 of the 1999 Constitution and Senate standing orders, likely referring to the limitation in the Legislative House's powers and privileges Act as well as the basis for its ruling, stating that a 6-month suspension was excessive and violated her constitutional rights and the rights of her constituents to representation. Well, that's a huge one. This statement, this particular comment just states everything that we'll be itching to hear. And right now we're asking ourselves, whatever it is the Senate President, whatever decision he took by keeping her away from the Senate chambers, is it right or wrong? Well, you have the floor, as we are going to let you drop your comments using the social media handles and be part of this conversation. We really need to talk about this. I'm going to be leaving you in the hands of the Global Morning crew as Global Morning continues. I remain Ogochukwu. Just stay with us.
Well, like I was saying this morning when we got started, I said you can't finish talking about the issue between Natasha and the Senate President. My guest in the studio earlier had mentioned the fact that there is need for sanity in the Independent National Electoral Commission for us to have a free and fair election in Nigeria, because Nigerians are crying. Now we have a senator who is democratically elected, and now there are issues between her and the Senate President which has been lingering. Court has come in, even though some persons are saying most of the elections that were held in 2023, majority ended in court. And at a point Nigerians were saying, are we now the ones who decide who rule us, or the court decides for us? And I've interviewed some judicial officers who said, well, if a case is brought before them, they use their evidences, what they have, that they don't manufacture judgment, but it's based on what they have. That's, by the way, I'm not saying the judiciary are doing the role of playing the role of the electorate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to voice out what Nigerians are saying. Before Social Buzz came on board, we're talking about 2027, President Tinubu, and statements that some Nigerians have made in the past, that even at the Senate, all right, some Nigerians were alleging that whatever comes to the Senate from the president is being passed expressly. All right. And we've seen people, you made one very valid statement, but I want to draw your attention to something now. When you talked about the fact that even if the coalition of ADC doesn't win the presidency, they may succeed in winning some constituencies and have their lawmakers at the National Assembly. You said it while we were speaking. Now, I want to draw your attention to the fact that the same thing happened with Labour Party. Now we're having defection. The same people are defecting. Some of them are defecting to the ruling party. We have someone like Natasha that we're talking about now. You know her party. She won. But now look at issues. Her constituency is suffering right now. So if you want to talk about coalition and just winning some of the seats at the House of Rep or National Assembly, I want to say there is always this hunger. You said, is it the winner gets it all or something, which has resulted to people defecting because they have their own personal ideology, reasons why they went into that power. Don't you think the same thing that is happening between Natasha and the Senate president now, and the defections happening, all right, by people who were voted into offices by a particular party but decides to defect, talking about Labour Party, to join the APC, the same thing can repeat itself, all right, if ADC only win seats at the National Assembly or House of Rep?
Well, I think this is another critical aspect of politics that really needed to be discussed.
Oh, I didn't even say it. Should I say, fortunately, Natasha is from your constituency, even from the same community, so with you. So I think you are in the right position to answer this question.
Yes, that's true. But this question, I will answer it from two perspectives. One is still from the aspect of a vibrant opposition, like this case of Senator Natasha Akpoti. I think she belongs to a political party. What has been the stand of that political party in this political crisis that she has been having with Senate President? Have the political party under which she won have come out to say, okay, this is one of our own, this is, or what is their intervention in this crisis so far? That's one. Then secondly, it also boils down to internal democracy that I talked about earlier. Like when the Labour Party came, many people won those seats under Labour Party on a platter of gold, actually, because they take advantage of that, bad wagon effect that people just want change. Then when they get to the National Assembly, what happened? When they are presented with the politics, the power play, most of them cannot actually, survive that power play than to play by the game. And that's where the political party should have an ideology. And not just an ideology, they should have a kind of system in place. So it's not just after just about to win election. Then after election, what are the plans? What do you have for those people that want under your platform? It's also very important, because to win an election is one thing. Then after winning, how those politics are being played is another ball game entirely. It's very unfortunate that we've been seeing this Natasha, Senator Natasha and the Senator Fabio saga and unresolved up to this moment.
Because Natasha's party is the People's Democratic Party.
Yeah,
the People's Democratic Party, they all settled. So they were even having problem.
That's
They
why-
have problem, so they cannot even look at somebody else's.
Yeah,
problem.
that's why I talked about political party ideology and, of course, a vibrant opposition. Because if, for instance now, Senator Natasha Apoti belongs to a vibrant opposition party, it shouldn't be her fight all alone.
All right. I think we can't continue because of our time. I would have loved to ask, but then, in just 1 minute, do you see this whole thing? Is it affected? The coalition thing is it in any way challenging the president? Are they capable of challenging the president right now? The administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are they capable? Are they a threat? Let me use that word.
I think, as for me, this coalition, even before the formation, is a threat.
All right. Well, that's going to be the size of the discussion for this morning. We've been able to look at politics and, of course, the coalition challenging the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, looking at the current situation. Well, let's go to a quick break. After this break, the Global Morning crew will be back to bring Global Morning to a close. Many thanks for joining us on the program this beautiful day, Mr. Musa Hakeem.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure.
Pleasure's mine. All right, we'll return for the conclusion of Global Morning after